Hello, Nathan Bradford-Grant, broker with Remax Escarpment Wolcott Realty here in Burlington. We're finishing off the first week of February, so it's time to let you know what happened in January. So let's get right into it. January was a very odd month. It felt very busy. It felt like a lot of properties were selling in competition. But when we take a look at the numbers in the end, sales were down over last year, inventory levels were up, and average price was down overall in Burlington. When we look at the overall numbers, so taking into account all residential sales, the total new listings for January were 185, which was up 4.5% over January of 2017. Unit sales going along with that were at 107 units, which was down 24% over last year, and the average price dropped down to $699,501, which is a 7.2% drop. Going along with those increased number of new listings was the average days on market. Overall, it took 40 days to sell a residential property in January, which was up actually 60% over last year. Last year it was at 24 days, I think was the actual number. So it's a dramatic increase in days on market. As well, the end of month inventory increased up to 249 units, which was up 40% over last year. When we break that residential overall down into what is freehold and what is condominium, on freehold there was 110 new listings, which was down 2.7%, and unit sales were at 69, which was a decrease of 22.5%. The average price of a freehold was $823,474, which was also a decrease of 13.5%. Average days on market were about the average overall at 44 days, and end of month inventory was at 165, which was up almost 50%. When we look on the condo side of things, there were 75 new listings, which was up 17%, and the number of unit sales were at 38, which was a decrease of 27% over last year. But the average price went up to $474,391, which is an increase of 14%. It still took a little bit longer at 32 days to sell the average condo, which is an increase of 14%, and there was 84 units left on the market at the end of the month, which was an increase of 29.2%. So does that mean the market's crashing? Absolutely not. What we're seeing is a slight shift in what is the more popular price ranges, with the new mortgage rules coming into effect as of January 1st. But also when the interest rates increased at the beginning of January, we saw a little bit of a rush for those people who already had their pre-approvals in place, wanting to make sure that they purchase before they expire, and they now have to qualify at the new interest rates. But because of the mortgage rule changes, we're seeing some people who their pre-approvals have decreased by that 20% that we were talking about at the end of last year. They're now still in the market, they're still looking to purchase, but now they're moving down in their price. So what we're seeing is a bunch up of sales in that mid-range price pointing. We're seeing more transactions in that under 700,000 mark, which is bringing in the overall average price down the 7% over last year. When we take that out a little bit broader, looking overall between all of the areas that the Realtors Association of Hamilton Burlington track, we tend to notice that Burlington and Ancaster, you can see right here, that and Dundas actually, they were ones where you could be considered a little bit of a higher average price point to begin with last year. Their average prices did come down in those areas, but other areas, we're seeing them actually go up. We're also seeing more people move into Hamilton again, which is what we've been talking about for quite a while. If we look at Hamilton West, the average price went from $450,000 up to $493,000. That's a pretty dramatic increase. In the East, it was up also about $40,000 from $333 to $375. Center, $310 to $340. These are pretty dramatic average price increases that we're seeing year over year. When we look up on the mountain, it's the same thing though, from $416,000 to now this year it's at $470,000. We also take a look into cities like, or towns like Waterdown, or getting into the rural areas like Flamborough or Caledonia or Dunnville. The average prices are all going up in those areas. So we're seeing people that have that higher price range abilities, even though they're now less than what they could have afforded before, they're moving out and going more into the rural areas. Flamborough is up to 818,000 from 750 last year. A lot of people moving from Milton and from Mississauga, looking to get out of everybody living up on top of each other and getting a little bit more space in the rural areas. So no, it's not all doom and gloom. Average pricing we're starting to settle out a little bit. But we have noticed that the spring market is starting early this year. Because of the influx of buyers coming from out of market into our market, it is putting a little bit more pressure again on the inventory that we have. If you want to know a little bit more about what's happening in your neighborhood, feel free to just comment below, send me an email at nathanbradford@woolcut.ca, or if you're watching this through Facebook, you can also private message me. Hope you're having a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you again soon.